everyone. I'm Reverend Katherine Economou, and it's my joy to welcome you here this morning to CSL TV and our Easter celebration. Happy Easter!
Happy Easter!
Yay!
I can't believe it's here.
I know! It's such a gorgeous, beautiful day today, and we've come together. I'm joined by our Artistic Director, John Foltz. Good morning. Happy Easter.
Morning.
And we have our Staff Minister, Rev Michael Summers, who's off camera right now. He's joining us, and our Practitioner of the day today is Jim Willis. And so we're so excited to put together this service to celebrate this sacred and holy holiday together with you, and I think we'll get going.
We shall get going. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me, I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only
So, coming together and staying in that mindset of that there is only love. I know there is one power, one presence, one creator, one divine intelligence, one all and everything, which I choose to call God. For it is that power which has created all that there is. It's that same power which knows how to maintain and sustain all and everything. There is that one presence, which is surely the life, the light, and the love of God flowing in, around, and through each and every one of us. There is one creator and one creation. There is that one divine intelligence which always, always, always knows what to do, when to do, and how to do it. And I know that I, being made manifest and created in the image and likeness of the one, that I too am endowed with all those same divine qualities of God, of freedom and life, love and peace and joy and happiness, harmony, balance, beauty, divine wisdom, wholeness, and abundance in all and everything. And as I know this to be true for myself, I absolutely know this to be true for each and every person listening to me right here and right now. And I know and declare that today's service flows with grace and ease. For it is true that there is only love. And I know that Reverend Katherine's message resonates with each and every person. And that John's music is inspiring as well as uplifting and joyful to each and every one of us. So I simply allow it to be and call it good because it is all God. God is goodness itself. I simply allow it to be. And so it is.
Thank you, Jim. That was beautiful. And thank you, John.
Of
I
course.
love that song. It always
It's a good
moves
one.
me. It really moves me. It reminds me of our community, actually. It reminds me of being at the center of this spiritual family and all the love that we share. And so on this day of Easter, on this day of rebirth and renewal, we are extending our arms to you with a warm embrace of love and of appreciation for having you join us this morning. We're so glad that you're with us to celebrate this beautiful spring day, this warm, sunny, gorgeous day. I was telling someone, I think we were talking a couple weeks ago in planning for Easter, I said it never rains on Easter. And
Not here, anyway.
right, it doesn't rain here on Easter. Or where I am,
Right.
it doesn't rain on Easter.
Right.
So wherever I go, it feels to me like it doesn't rain on Easter. So you can claim that for yourself. But here we are. Maybe I'm tempting the gods a little bit, but here we are in this glorious Easter morning. And it's with love and light that I welcome you into to celebrate with us today. You know, Center for Spiritual Living Temecula Valley is an open, affirming, accepting, welcoming spiritual community. We know that there is a divine presence that we call God, that is this power, this force for good in the universe, and it's part of each and every one of us, that there's a divine spark within us that unites us with that presence that we call God and one another. And so as we move through this life that we're living and this unfolding adventure of our lives, we do it with that understanding that we are all interconnected. And so on this day, we come together to celebrate, to remember the truth of our being, and to affirm that power and that presence for good that we are and is all around us. And so it's in that light that I welcome you this morning. We have a great Easter service ready to put together for you. Of course, we're wanting to be together in person with you, but we hope that you are enjoying your morning, maybe having a little bit of a chocolate bunny with your coffee today. And I don't know about those peeps, but I heard this really cool thing. I'm sorry. I saw this really cool thing. I don't know if you saw it. You could take up, those peeps, the little marshmallow peeps, right, that I haven't eaten in 20 years probably. But you could actually, roast them over a campfire.
Ooh, stop.
I saw it, really,
Stop.
it's what they do. They roast them over a campfire, for s'mores, right?
That's
and so
funny.
the sugar coating gets all someone was saying it's like creme brulee.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, if it's creme brulee, we should be doing it, right? We should try that. So I don't know about you. I probably will not be doing this today, but I maybe on Easter. That's what you do with your peeps. Is you
It's
roast
better
them.
than the thing I saw, which was somebody made a dress.
A dress of
out
peeps.
them.
I know.
I mean, I'll take roasted peeps over clothing.
Yes, I was considering a little peep corsage,
Yeah.
but I did not put a peep corsage on today. So you didn't do that.
A peep corsage. It's
I try to have fun on Easter. We try to have some fun on Easter.
better than a whole outfit. A corsage.
Absolutely.
A peep corsage
Absolutely.
would be lovely.
It'd be a little
Oh my gosh.
something, but not a
All
full
right.
dress. But anyway, so it's a day to celebrate together. I hope you're celebrating with your family, enjoying this, the new season of spring and just getting in that energy of renewal and regeneration and rebirth and just enjoying yourself today. And so we're so glad you're with us, and we are going to get going with our congregational
Yes.
song. So I'm going to invite my friends to come on up with me.
Rise up, emerge from the ashes, stand up, ignite the flame, wake up. You know your way, the time has come. Today's the day to rise up. Today
favorite Easter songs that we sing, because today is about rising up. So we're going to move into our time of gratitude here, our spiritual practice that we do together. And I'm just going to invite you to maybe place your hands on your heart if you're comfortable, but just close your eyes and take a breath and just settle into this moment with me for a moment. And so as we move into this time of gratitude on theme today, I'm going to invite us, we're going to do a stretch. So I'm just going to bear with me and stretch with me for this. Today, as we honor this powerful story of Easter, I want us to call forth the powerful presence of gratitude for one of our challenges that we're faced with. And I know that that's not always easy to find gratitude for our difficulties and our challenges. But I know the power of this experience, of this process. And so I want you to call to mind just a challenge, something that you're faced with in whatever area of your life. And then I want you to try and cultivate a little bit of gratitude for it. And this is why. The challenges of our lives show us how strong we are. The challenges of our lives may be stretching us, but they're stretching us into a new expression, a new ability to engage with life even more deeply. Maybe it's calling us to a deeper compassion for ourselves or for the people around us. Maybe it's calling us to step out of our comfort zone and into a new way of being in the world that will bring more freedom and joy. Maybe the challenge that we're faced with is forcing us to realize the presence of God in our lives, that we are not alone, having us have to surrender to the question, to allow for the love of God, the support and guidance, the wisdom of God to move through our experience. Our challenges are rich. And so just cultivating a little bit of gratitude. I'm not denying that it's challenging. I'm not denying the pain of it or the fear or any of that. But all I'm doing is saying that if we could find a little bit of gratitude for the possibility of what that challenge is pulling out of each of us, we can begin to move through it into that next step of freedom. And so as you breathe that gratitude in for this challenge, you bless it. And maybe affirm a willingness to grow and to expand, a willingness to step forward in what's being called forth. Then the energy on the challenge can dissipate. And we move into healing and into peace. But it all begins with gratitude. So one more nice deep breath. And when you're ready, coming on back. Again, I've talked about gratitude every week for a while now, and that spiritual practice is very powerful. And it can help us stretch, and it can help us grow, and help us move into a higher level of understanding our unfolding adventure of life. And so I encourage you to continue to practice this, and to see how, by cultivating gratitude for that which is already happening in your life, it begins to multiply, it begins to expand. These concepts of abundance and prosperity and divine flow are real. They're spiritual principles that we live by. And so when we open to accept that, when we open to affirm it and to allow that divine flow to move through us, we can start to see the challenges of our lives differently. We can see the opportunities that show up and those synchronicities. We get to affirm them, and all of a sudden it seems as though miracles are happening all around us, and it's not a miracle, it's just what's normal. They have a saying here at the community, "Oh, how usual," when someone will come in and say, "You'll never believe what happened to me." I hear often our practitioners and our leaders will say, "Oh, how usual," it's not unusual, because we know that God's operating in our lives, and right when we need something, it's there, but we have to be willing to see it. And by practicing gratitude and our mindfulness, we are able to see more clearly. And so with that, I'd like to also extend my gratitude for you, for your participation, for your presence, and for our community who is generously continuing to give financially to support this ministry. We are so grateful for your tithes and your offerings that go to support this live stream, to support us as we step back into being in person, as we begin to offer classes again and move into a place of expansion. There's so much that needs to happen, and we can only do this when we work together. So we are so grateful for your dedication, your commitment, and your financial special offering, because it makes a huge difference. No matter how large or small, it makes a difference not only to what's possible for CSL TV, but when we give in a committed way, when we say yes, what we put our money, our time, and our attention on is what we care about. When we put our time, our attention, and our financial resources towards something, we are declaring to the universe that we are committed and open and ready to live a spiritual life. And that is like the opening of a divine channel that just pours the abundance of God into our experience. I'm talking later about the fact that Jesus came to teach us how to live fully. And the idea that he came that we would have life and have it more abundantly. That's a spiritual principle. When we know God as our life, we open to the infinite abundance of the universe. And when we put it, we direct it into a place where we say, yes, I believe in this. I stand for this. We call more of that, more consciousness, more opportunity, more possibility, more creativity into our lives. And so we are grateful that for your ongoing support. There's a couple of ways that you could give to the center. You could call our phone number, 951-304-0268, and speak to our beloved administrator, Diane Keys. Good morning, Diane. We're grateful for you. And she could run a credit card for you. You could pop over to our website at csltv.org, or you could mail in an offering to the center. And just know that this gift goes to support this next evolution of growth for each and every one of us, and for this spiritual community, and we're so grateful for you. And so I want us to close our eyes and take a breath and just bless this offering, knowing that it is a divine gift that moves through each of us to that mission, that vision, that ministry of being a light unto the Temecula Valley that CSL TV is. Allowing for that which needs to expand, allowing for that which needs to evolve and unfold, to allow for this spiritual community to come back together safely, supported in creating these programs to unfold this divine adventure of this church. So I bless it, I give thanks for it, and I celebrate this new chapter of this community, and so it is. And so please join me in saying our affirmation of abundance. Everybody together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now.
Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant. We rest in God and say, Amen. Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant. We rest in God and say, Amen. Let our joy be so triumphant. We rest in God and say,
Our spiritual reading for Easter. Unity minister and author Eric Butterworth said, The great Easter truth is that there is a principle and a process of wholeness within every person. Thus, an open tomb of Easter morning says to you, you can become what you innately are. And this innateness of you far transcends anything you have ever conceived in your wildest flights of fancy. There is within you a person of stature, of genius, of mastery, struggling to be released. And if you get into the spirit of Easter and let it happen to you, you can believe that every stone of limitation will be rolled away from your tomb. So this morning, let's roll away the stone of separation. Let us believe in a resurrection in our own souls. Let us right now yield our condition-based thinking to a greater spiritual understanding, an understanding of our unity with God, just as Jesus understood his unity with God. So complete was this realization in Jesus that he was unable to find a place where he began and God left off, or where God began and Jesus ceased to be. This morning, can we begin to come to the same realization? Can we begin to move to the point where we don't know where God begins in us and we cease to be as a separate being from God? Today, let us be willing to roll that stone away and let the glory of God shine through each of us, undaunted by what others may think, say, or do. And so it is.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning and happy Easter. We have a special affirmation for Easter today. I will read it all the way through once, and then we'll invite you to recite it with me, line by line. I am the resurrection and the life. Today, I am illumined, and my way is made clear. I am revealing the consciousness of wisdom and spiritual power. I am not bound by my past, for I am made new in every moment, living the life of the divine as me. Today I celebrate the risen Christ within me. Today I am the resurrection and the life. I rise triumphant, splendid, glorious, and free. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Now, I will read each line and ask you to repeat it back with feeling and power.
Yes.
I am the resurrection and the life.
I am the resurrection and the life.
Today, I am illumined and my way is made clear.
Today I am illumined and my way is made clear.
I am revealing the consciousness of wisdom and spiritual power.
I am revealing the consciousness
Of wisdom and spiritual power. I am not bound by my past,
I am not bound by my past,
for I am made new in every moment, living the life of the divine as me.
I am made new in every moment, living the life of the divine as me.
Today, I celebrate the risen Christ within me.
Today, I celebrate the risen Christ within me.
Today, I am the resurrection and the life.
Today, I am the resurrection and the life.
I rise triumphant, splendid, glorious, and free.
I rise triumphant, splendid, glorious, and free.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Yes.
And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Reverend Michael. Yes, absolutely. Splendid,
Yes.
triumphant, and free. I love that. That's so powerful.
Don't forget glorious.
Glorious. Splendid,
Glorious.
triumphant, and free. Yes, absolutely.
It should stick fabulous in there.
Oh, we should put fabulous in there. Well, I was going to use fabulous to describe our musical guest today because it's our own John Foltz, who's fabulous, splendid, magnificent, and glorious, and free. Please welcome John Foltz.
Hi, everyone. Happy Easter. I can't believe we haven't said Happy Easter yet.
Happy Easter!
All right. Out of the shadows, bound for the gallows, a dead man walking, till love came calling. Rise up, rise up. 6 feet under, thought it was over, an answer to prayer, the voice of a savior. Rise up, rise up. All at once I came alive, this beating heart, these open eyes, the grave let go, the darkness should know. You're still rolling stones, you're still rolling stones. Now that you saved me, I sing 'cause you gave me a song of revival. I put it on vinyl. Rise up, rise up. I once was blinded, but now I see it. I heard about the power, and now I believe it. Rise up, rise up. All at once I came alive, this beating heart, these open eyes, the grave let go, the darkness should know. You're still rolling stones, you're still rolling stones. I thought that I was too far gone for everything I've done wrong. I'm the one who dug this grave, but you called my name, you called my name. I thought that I was too far gone for everything I've done wrong. I'm the one who dug this grave, but you call my name, you call my name. All at once I came alive, this beating heart, these open eyes, the grave let go, the darkness should know. You're still rolling stones, yeah. All at once I came
All right, nice deep breath. So you know it's Easter. You know what I do on Easter. I've got some jokes to start. Whether we think they're funny or not, we'll wait to see. All right, so what do you call a bunch of Easter bunnies walking backwards?
What?
A receding hairline. Okay, so why did the Easter bunny cross the road?
Why?
His friends egged him on. But don't worry, he got over easy. You know. Please forgive me. I'm just feeling a little bit scrambled today. You know, it's like.
Oh gosh.
I told you I like to have fun on Easter.
We're setting the bar pretty low here.
Well, it's my extra favorite holiday, so you know, there we go. But all right, okay, there we go. All right, so nice deep breath. Just welcoming in this morning and this time together. How, you know, happy I am to have us together and to be connecting on the internet. You know, as we begin to emerge from these trials and tribulations of the past year, I keep hearing from people a collective, yay, let's celebrate, right? Like, let's get back to life. Let's get back to business as usual. I keep hearing that in the collective. Everyone's so excited that things are starting to open up and more people are getting vaccinated. You know, and to be honest, personally, I don't want to get back to 100%, what we considered to be 100% normal from before, because that wasn't really 100% good. You know, I never do air quotes, but normal, what we thought was normal before the pandemic, wasn't all necessarily good. And though I hear that collective, yay, let's get back to life from out in the world, when I'm having individual conversations with people, and when I've been had the pleasure of being together with people more individually, what I'm hearing is a deeper inquiry. What's next? What now? And you know, I think that each of us has been through something big this year, no matter how we were affected by the pandemic and what the happenings of 2020. But I do know that we're being called, each of us, and we've all been through something, right? We've all been through a disruption of life as we knew it. and I believe that we're being called to a deeper realization of life and the part we play in it. And it fits so perfectly that we're talking about this, we're discussing this at the time of Easter. Because this is one of the themes of the Easter story, that Jesus came to teach us how to live and live fully. As I mentioned before, from John 10:10, Jesus said, I come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. More life, the fullness of life. Throwing ourselves, immersing ourselves into the sea of life in a different way. That's what Jesus came to teach us. I think that's what the pandemic came to teach us. We needed a reset. You know, we needed to go back to our rooms to think about what we've done and what we want to create, how life can be for our highest and best. So to answer that question that I'm hearing, what's next? What now? The topic for my sermon today for Easter came so easily. I heard it as if a voice outside of me was saying, a voice that's not mine from the center of my head said, and now we rise. Today my topic is, and now we rise, to answer the question of what's next? What do we do now? Well, now we rise. The Easter story is one with great meaning and guidance for us in life. There's so much to it. It's a story of trials and tribulations. It's a story of overcoming the greatest challenge that we are faced with in this life, which is death. Jesus walked through the fire in the Holy Week, the crucifixion and his death, and then on the third day he was resurrected. The tomb was empty, the stone was rolled away, and he rose triumphant into this new way of being, this new evolution of his soul. And so as we stand here in the spring of 2021, after a full year of tumult and change and the disruption of life, we're being called to rise to a new level of consciousness. Just like the story of Jesus leaving the tomb, being reborn into his Christhood, into the immortal, eternal expression of who he was. Like the phoenix rising from the ashes, being reborn into a new expression. From the ashes of the old way of being, the phoenix rises into a new expression, a new adventure of its life, of its beingness. And like those spring flowers that are starting to lift up out of the ground, of the hard ground from winter. I've got friends from the East Coast that kept send me pictures of the crocuses when they start to come up through the snow. Like those beautiful, tender spring flowers that are signs and signals of the warmth and the light to come. We are each being called to rise to a new level of consciousness, a new level of understanding of who we are, a new level of connecting to the divine of our hearts in a new way, and a new way of being in life. We have an opportunity to begin again. We have an opportunity to step forward and move in the direction to create a new experience in the different aspects of your life. We do not need to go back into that round hole that we were living in. We do not need to go back into that absolute same mode of operation that we had been in before. We can let die what needs to die. We can let go of what no longer serves us and move into a place of creating our lives in a way that is more supportive, more nurturing of who we are and who we've come here to be. We can rise. Now, I do have to say, and I've been a big proponent of this, that I think we do need to pause and acknowledge what we've been through. I don't want to rush into creating the new without honoring where we've been. It's important to realize that we've been under major stress, living in a year of uncertainty and of challenge, of not knowing how things were going to unfold and what was coming next. It felt like we were all, all on a high stress alert for a whole year here. And that does a lot to us. That affects us. That affects our minds. It affects our bodies. It affects our emotions. It definitely, when something like that happens, it affects our relationships, the way that we operate in the world, with one another, with our beloveds, and with ourselves. And so I think that as we start today, I want us to realize that doing some conscious self-care, acknowledging, you know what, I've been through a lot this year. This was a big year. And just realizing, like I said in our moment of gratitude, that sometimes the challenges of our lives allow us to grow and expand in a way that we never would have. It calls us forward. It pushes us into a new expanded way of being. And so those challenges that we've been through this year have brought us to this moment, and this is a moment of awareness. This is a moment of being awake and a moment of choice as to where we want to go. But before we go there, we take some time to acknowledge ourselves, to give ourselves some appreciation, to care for ourselves, to care for our minds, to care for our bodies, to care for our spirits. And so again, with spring, adding some movement, eating some vegetables, eating foods that are nourishing and supportive of ourselves, taking the time to rest, making sure that we're participating in our spiritual practice to bring a sense of peace and of welcoming the grace of God into our lives. All of those things help us to be prepared for what's next. And instead of just jumping into life back as it was before, once you get your shots or whatever will make you feel comfortable being interacting with the world again, I'm encouraging each of us to take some time and to ask ourselves, what of the old life, I call them the before times, what of the old life am I ready to let go of? What of the time before did not really serve me? that stressed me out, that pushed me to my edge, that made me not have caring for myself or my family first. You know, what am I ready to let go of? How could the rhythm of your days, as you're creating them, be set up in a new way to fully support you, to support your well-being and your peace of mind? We have an opportunity to recreate our lives on another level, and we do this by rising, by expanding our consciousness, by rising in our understanding, by deepening our walk with God. In the Easter story, Jesus is betrayed, he's arrested, he's tried, sentenced, crucified. And the crucifixion in the story represents the letting go, the letting the old identity die, so that something can raise you up. The divine nature of your being, God, can raise you up into the next expression of your soul. Your old identity is all the ideas that you've carried about yourself and your capabilities, all the judgments and limiting thoughts that you hold. It's the story that you tell about yourself that you have told forever. We need to transcend those ideas in order to meet our true self. Jesus needed to die to the old to become the Christ. We need to die to our sense of limitation to step into the fullness of our being. Sometimes those challenges, that life showing up as challenges and difficulties to stretch us to a greater awareness of what we're capable of. It's not comfortable. It can be painful and scary. But often, once you step through a challenge to the other side, you find a greater sense of peace, a greater awareness, a greater understanding of yourself, and a greater purpose for your life than you ever would have imagined for yourself. I want you to think about it for a second. Think of a challenge that you've experienced in the past, something that was really difficult, that you walked through. Now, whether we walked through it elegantly or not, or gracefully or not, is, that's just yours. I know that I've had various levels of being able to handle things gracefully or not, but we all make it through it, right? What happens when you have walked through that challenge and it was in your rearview mirror? You learn something about yourself. You learn something about yourself, that you are stronger than you thought, that you could handle something that was bigger than you would ever have chosen for yourself. Maybe you woke up to a new realization about your life, or about the people that you've chosen to be with, or about how you show up in the world. These challenges call us forward, and we have come here to be the fullest expression of ourselves. We have come here to step into our power and to not play small. So this happens because life is not going to let you not be who you've come here to be. And we can walk through those challenges so much more elegantly, so much more peacefully, with the guidance and the connection to God itself. All of this happens in consciousness, and through and we expand consciousness. We rise in consciousness through our thought processes. Often in Scripture, in the metaphysical view of Scripture, the idea of angels, there's always angels coming, right? Angels came to proclaim this. Angels are saying this. Angels represent high thoughts, high-minded thoughts. And the devil, or the devils, or demons, they represent low thoughts, thoughts of limitation. And you know what? That makes a lot of sense to me, doesn't it? When we keep our consciousness high, when we keep our eye and our mind on God with that infinite potential of the divine, that God is all powerful, it's all creative, it's all good. When we keep our high-minded thoughts on that truth, we begin to see new ways before us. We awaken to opportunities and a new path unfolds in front of us. When we keep our mind and eye on the challenge, on what's wrong, on how it's broken, on what needs to be fixed and why we can't fix it, we sink into that world of limitation, into the level of the problem, and then you can't see anything but the problem. You can't see any way out of it. Consciousness expands. Consciousness will roll away all of your obstacles. And our job is to put our attention on expanding our consciousness and connecting to the divine presence, and then we let God take care of the rest of it. Jesus was not the one that rolled away that stone himself. He knew God. He knew life as eternal. He knew that he was one with that presence. The Father and I are one. He knew that so well. God rolled away that stone. God rose him up. All we need to do is set our attention on the intention and on the truth and let God do the rest of it. And so we do this by watching our thoughts. As we continue to put our attention on God and understand how the Spirit works in our lives, we have higher thoughts. And when we have higher thoughts, we have a greater experience of at-one-ment, that feeling of connection, that knowingness. Feeling the connection with the divine. As the reading today spoke of, that place where God lays off and you begin, there's a melding of that. You can't tell where you end and God begins. And you can't tell where God begins and you end. You can't see a difference. And so when we start to practice our meditations, when we begin to cultivate this, sometimes we get a touch of it, right? You get just this little inspiration in your meditation where maybe it's an in-breath that you just realize, I'm greater than this. There's more than this. For me, it becomes a visceral feeling sometimes, and sometimes it's just a little touch. And you'll get that every once in a while, and that brings you back to your meditation chair. That gets you back to do it again, right? And I want to feel that again because that's really powerful. When you feel the truth that you are greater than this body, than this concept that you have of yourself, you want to know that more. And so then in your meditation, maybe over a little bit of time, this isn't a one-off. We cultivate it, we practice it. That's why it's called a practice. We do it over and over again. And you start to feel that. You start to be able to sink into that understanding that you are connected to something greater. And then you get to the place where you can plug in. You can plug yourself straight into that and remind yourself, oh right, God is here. And that's when we start to surrender and allow God to be God in our lives. We do this through our meditation, through our prayer work, through communing with nature. And there's a simple exercise that helps you move into that consciousness. And I know I've talked about it before, but it's a simple exercise of looking up. It's a powerful exercise because there is a physiological connection between our eyesight and our minds, between our eyes and our brains. When we tend to look down, and I've been watching people as I go through my life these days just to see what I see out in the world, but what I've learned is when you look down, when you have a tendency just to look down all the time, you have a tendency to move into the place of the problem. When we are contemplating a challenge in our life and we look down, all you can see is the problem. You can't see any solution. You can't see any way out of it. All you can see is this is the problem. This is my challenge and all what's wrong with it. When you take that challenge in mind and you look out to the horizon, there's some hope there, and hope is a really good thing. It's the first step. There may be some hope, but there's challenges there still to be handled. It's difficult. There's challenges. But when you practice looking up, and I teach the exercise at 45 degrees. It can be inside or outside. It doesn't matter. But just the act of looking up, there's no obstacle. There's no challenge. It's wide open. Looking up, looking to God, looking to the infinite, looking to the divine allows us to welcome in possibility and potential and other information and wisdom that we don't have within our own self. But we are connected to the infinite wisdom and it can flow through when we welcome it, when we allow it. It reminded me that a few years ago, when my daughter was very young, I planted a sunflower house in my garden. This was one of my favorite things I've ever done. And I planted a sunflower house as you plant sunflowers in a square with a little door, with a little space. And so they grew, and it was our playhouse for the summer. She was very little at the time, and so as they were growing higher, these were mammoth sunflowers, so they ended up being about 15 feet tall. But when you would start, we would go and we would sit in there, and they'd be up to us, and then pretty soon it was a whole playhouse. It was really beautiful and very fun. But that whole summer, what I loved to do is I marked my days by that sunflower house. I would go out in the morning with my coffee, and all the sunflowers would be facing the east and welcoming the sun. And then after lunch, I would go out and check them out, and they were all facing straight up at high noon. And then by the evening, they were all facing west because they had their eyes, they had their faces to the light, to the sun, to God. And so as we do that, as we follow that image of looking up, looking to the possibility, looking to that light of inspiration, looking to that light of the divine, we are able to open to welcome some more guidance and support for the challenges of our lives. When we look up, we realize that there's a power operating in our lives that's beyond our comprehension, that only wants our good. When we draw closer to God, and you know what that feels like, right? When maybe in your meditation, when you have a sweetness of that, what Emerson calls the sweetness of the solitude of your own soul. You have those moments of connection where you don't know how, you can't explain it, but you feel that there's a presence of love that's right there for you. When we draw closer to God, we realize that we can actually walk through the challenges of our lives with hope, because all is not lost, no matter how dark it might seem, no matter how limited you're feeling. Something is still operating there in the background for your good, for your freedom, for your joy. And that's God. So this is what the Easter story teaches us. That we're never beyond hope, that we're never truly lost, that any challenge can be overcome, even death. Ernest Holmes writes about Easter. He said that our conclusion is not that dead men live again, but that a living man never dies. A living man never dies. And so as we step fully into the experience of Easter and spring, let us allow the potent energy of birth and of renewal to inspire us to rise. Let us release our ideas of God from a sense of limitation that we've created. We create God in our image sometimes and not allow ourselves to be created in the image of God. We create God in that sense of limitation. Let us release God from any sense of limitation that we've created and rise up to a new height of optimism, of clarity, of inspiration. Because behold, this is a new day. We've come to live it fully, in hope, in joy, and in love. And so what do we do now? And now we rise. Happy Easter, everybody. We're going to welcome John Foltz back up. Yay! Yay!
Troubles come and my heart burdened. then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Should I be a rebel and put the white side forward?
Oh, you could if you want. You could do what you want.
No,
this is the fun part of our service. Oh, it looks great! Yay!
It does.
Again, we're having fun. So I have a couple of reminders of what's going on here at the center. Our book study is off for 2 weeks, and then we'll begin again in the mid-April. And so you can contact Practitioner Pam Migliosi about that. Our men's ministry, our men today, who are our practitioner and minister here today, are the heads of our men's ministry, Rev Michael and Jim, and they meet on Wednesdays, and you could contact them if you're interested in joining that group. They have a blast. They are so supportive of one another. It's been one of the solid groups that has stayed together this year, and I actually just want to take a moment to thank you both for that, for keeping support for our men. And if you are wanting to connect with them, it's a great group. Go ahead and reach out to Rev Michael.
Please join us.
Yes, join them. They have fun. I'm trying to get in. I can't get in, but it's okay. But I could get in the Sisters in Spirit group with our practitioner Pam Migliosi. They're meeting on the first and third Thursday mornings of each month. The first Thursday is on Zoom. The third Thursday they're meeting at Journey's Restaurant as long as everything's clear. So please contact Pam if you'd like to join them. Our Spiritual Connection at 7 series continues. 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 20-minute meditation with our practitioners and ministers. Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. is with me. We do an hour check-in. We have some discussions. We do some processing. The first Wednesday of the month, which is this coming Wednesday, is questions and answers, spiritual questions and answers. And so if there's something that's been sitting in your mind and your heart, something that you're confused about, please go ahead and join us on Wednesday night for our Spiritual Connection at 7, and let's have a conversation about it. Our prayer room that we normally do after service each week is not going to be happening today. So our Zoom room is not open after service today, but it will resume next week. If you have a prayer request, go ahead and email it to revkatherine@csltv.org, and I will be glad to forward it to our prayer team, and we could hold you in prayer for the week. The other thing I'm excited about, we have our first workshop coming up in person here at the community. We are doing a vision board workshop on April 18th with Practitioner Beth Haas. We have space for 25 people, and those spots are getting filled up, so I don't want anyone to miss out on it. If you would like to join us for that workshop, please register online, and we'll put the link in the chat, and it's also on our website and on our Facebook page. And so I think that's what I've got.
You got, it's plenty of stuff.
I know, there's a lot going on. We're celebrating spring together, but I think it's time to pray, so I'm going to invite my other bunnies to come forward here.
Bunnies or buddies? Or bunny buddies?
Bunny buddies. My bunny buddies, my Easter bunny buddies. So, all right, so let's come together in consciousness here and take a breath. How good it is to pause. And to just rest in this moment in the love of the spiritual community. The sweetness of the solitude of our own souls, that communion with the infinite, that love, that peace, that harmony, that joy that is God. That divine spark that lights up every man, woman, and child is alive within each and every one of us, and it is our deep connection to that infinite presence of God itself. And so I know on this day, as we celebrate the resurrection, as we celebrate the rebirth and renewal of life itself, I know it is true for each and every one of us, that we each step forward in this day into a new expression of who we've come here to be. That we allow for the infinite one to move through us, to guide us, to inspire us to step forward in our fullness, leaving the sense of limitation and leaving the old stories, the old identity, letting go that which is ready to die, and stepping into the fullness of life, the fullness of light. And as we look up to the possibilities, as we look up to the potential, as we look up to that infinite presence that is within us, that is around us, that is all things, I know that the way is made straight, that we set our intention and spirit operates to make the unfolding happen in ease and in grace. And so I call this forth and I claim it. I celebrate the light of this day, the love between each of us, the love that is alive in this moment of renewal, of beginning again, of claiming that which serves us and letting go of that which no longer serves. And so let us step into the fullness of this day, the fullness of this life, and celebrate with gratitude the divine joy. And so I call it forth and I claim it for each and every one. And I honor this sacred holy holiday. And know that the operation of the Easter story within us brings great insight, great peace, great joy. And that fullness of life unfolds so powerfully and beautifully before us. And so claiming it and calling it forth, giving great gratitude to see and to know God in action so powerfully, I simply surrender my word, knowing that it is so, and so it is.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, and didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say: I release, now let go. May the Spirit in my life, in my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God.
die, and to rise in consciousness to know our oneness with God. And so it is.
And so
So it is.
Happy Easter, everybody. We hope you have a great day. We're so glad you're with us. We look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
We love you all.
Love you.